Okay, so this project was born out of ACU's need to consolidate teaching and staff space onto the St Patrick's campus in Fitzroy. The brief of the project is about 18,000 square metres of area on an incredibly small site, and the site was bounded by a multi-storey education building called the Mary Glowrey, which actually happened to be the former Commonwealth Notes and Stamp Printing building, so it has heritage value. Part of our strategy was to relocate the entry and consolidate that into the new build, and also reinstate the heritage value of the Mary Glowrey building. Just in terms of dealing with the small site and the heritage, we created a lower level podium which actually equalled the level of the Mary Glowrey building, and we stepped the building back such that the upper levels of the building actually slid over the Mary Glowrey. The midsection of the building, which actually divides the podium and the tower, actually projects right out over the Mary Glowrey to create 2 extra floors of space, and then on top of that we have a sports court. This is a vertical campus, and it's arranged with a whopping 7 storeys of car parking below ground. There are 2 levels of street interface and then 5 levels of main teaching and learning above that. And then there's another 2 levels of hub for student and staff above that. And then atop we have further staff accommodation. Under the sports court, there are conference facilities and also staff accommodation. And then all of the levels actually link and integrate with the Mary Glowrey building. Down at ground level, the tapering form of the ground plane, which opens up the edges of the Mary Glowrey building to the street, creates a series of sunken gardens with multiple entries. The sunken garden, the ramps bridge over the sunken garden to the entry and introduce the idea of gardens and artwork, which is a really strong theme throughout the building. As you enter the interior, you're presented with the escalator run that runs right through the building, and that's surrounded by a series of informal learning spaces over 2 levels. The lower levels actually connect into the sunken gardens, whereas the upper level leads to an urban theatre which connects directly with the street via high levels of transparency, integrating the idea of garden from the outside to the inside. And as you can see, there's a range of places for students to perch in this space. The edge is softened by the gardens and the transparency, creating lots of activation. And the lift core connects all levels of the building, whereas the escalators provide the main thrust for students to move through all the student spaces, introducing the students to a wide range of pedagogical teaching spaces, including group learning spaces like this one, or Harvard lecture theatre type spaces, interactive lectorial spaces, or tiered group learning, right through to a large 200-seat lecture theatre with views of the exterior. The general planning of all the teaching spaces is that all the teaching and learning have been located to the perimeter to get lots of natural light, whereas to the centre, near the circulation, the informal learning and collaboration spaces have been organised. So these spaces, although they're to the interior, the orchestration of windows and light through this space allows transparency and connection both to the teaching spaces and to the exterior of the building. So the interior has been inspired by the local area, the materials, the textures, the colours, and they've been incorporated into a series of rhythmic panels which are integrated with further planting, seating arrangements. This also creates a nice sense of place for students in the facility and a great sense of wayfinding. The structure of this panelling also provides the curation for ACU's very extensive art collection, which has been completely integrated into the experience for the students. Hanging out over the street is a large glass box which signifies the entry. This also presents another student hangout space with different forms of seating arrangements. And on Napier Street, there's a glass section which actually creates relief between the Mary Glowrey building and the new build. And this creates a series of what we've called study gardens right through each level of the building, bringing in lots of natural light, vertical gardens, and furniture that incorporate power, data, and plants. On level 4, there's more relief space from the exterior, which provides some intimate spaces to the exterior of the building. But this space actually extends and connects with the interior of the building, so those spaces capture that amenity, both in the teaching spaces and in the informal learning. Up at level 5 of the building, in this very interstitial space between the plant of the Mary Glowrey building and the underside of the overbuild, is a conservatory garden area which has been integrated again with artwork. This is a mixed mode space with terraced areas and lots of places for students to perch within this space, continuing that strong garden feel within the space. The centrepiece garden is actually up at level 6, and this connects with the hub levels. This has been articulated by a large lawn in the shape of St Patrick's Cathedral and has been raised with a series of perimeter seating. Thank you. That connects directly with a self-serve kitchen, which is also a mixed mode space that opens up to the landscape as well. This space then continues the idea through to the student lounge with a series of garden spaces in the interior and lots of different modalities of seating and great views of the city. Up on the top level of the building, just for reference sake, there's another great space for students to access, which is the multi-use sports court. This is available for the community to use. Below that, there's a conferencing facility for postgraduates with spill space, postgraduate facilities adjacent to that. And then on the level below, the student hub, which is directly connected with the staff area and visually connected at the top of the escalators. The staff area has been woven into the intricate steelwork or the truss work that supports that building over the Mary Glowrey building. The top of the building is dedicated to staff areas and has been inflected towards the St Patrick's Cathedral, and the same themes of materiality have been brought up into that area. There are moments of reflection to the exterior of the building. This moment shows the connection to the façade, and the façade really is inspired by the idea of religiosity, ACO identity, connecting that with the heritage of the building and the artefacts that were produced by that building into a kind of texture which creates an effect across the overall building. Thank you.